It's Mark again. And there are still people who are having trouble with count wheel cuckoo or count wheel cuckoo music or count wheel cuckoo quail clocks. It's all the same. Um, and I've got several videos out there, but because the movements are not see through, it's hard to see the parts. So I'm gonna show you in several different movements the parts of what it takes to get the cuckoo clock to work or to get the quail or the music to work. And please leave me comments and give me a thumbs up if you like this video whatsoever. It hurts my channel when people don't give me comments and don't give me a thumbs up. YouTube uses some kind of algorithm. And again, I don't care about the money. God takes care of me. Extra money would be nice, but my bills are paid. I'm debt free. I don't care about the money. I care about trying to help people fix their clocks. I'm not going to fix their clocks. These videos are designed to show you how you can save money and fix your own clock. So please leave me comments. I've got people who repair clocks for a living that watch my videos, and they thank me all the time. Another one fixed, Mark. Thanks a lot. But it hurts my channel if you watch the video and you don't leave me a thumbs up and leave me comments. I hope that you subscribe to my channel, but at least give me a thumbs up and leave me comments on every video that you watch. And so, anyway, let's get started. A crude drawing that I made just to initially explain some things. This is the movement. This wire right here is what goes around the cannon pinion, the minute arbor that has the 2 pins if it's a cuckoo clock, 4 pins if it's a cuckoo quail clock. And this wire is lifted by one of those 2 pins. But this wire is on this post right here. And then there's another wire that goes through the movement that goes over the second wheel and has a little tail on it. And the purpose of the tail is to stop the clock from cuckooing when the clock goes into warning. A clock goes into warning about 5 minutes till the hour or 5 minutes after the hour. Unless it's a cuckoo quail clock, then it's 5 minutes before the quail is supposed to go off. But any adjustments made to this wire will affect that wire that goes in the movement. This lever right here is what goes into the count wheel. The wire that goes through the movement, that goes over the second wheel and that has a tail on it, it is what is between this wire and the wire that goes in the movement. And again, I'm going to show you movements later, so please bear with me. That is what sets everything into motion. It lifts this lever out of the count wheel. That lever that goes into the count wheel also has a lever that goes into the second wheel cam when it stops cuckooing. The third wheel with warning pin hits the end of that lever that goes into that cam on the cuckoo side, or it hits the inside of that lever on the quail/music side when the clock is done cuckooing, chirping, playing music. Like I said, so every time you make an adjustment to this lever right here, you're affecting the inside of that wire. And because people couldn't see the inside of the movements, I went out and bought some pexiglass, and I made this. And I will add to this pexiglass later, but what I want to show you, this is the wire that comes off the pins of the cannon pinion. And when I lift this wire, you should see that this wire inside is lifting. So when this wire lifts, this wire here that goes around the second wheel has got this loop on it, and then it has this tail right here. The purpose of that tail is when the third wheel warning pin is spinning, the purpose of that tail is to make sure that the pin rides on top of this wire so it hits this loop. And so if this wire is too far up, or if it's too short, the third wheel warning pin is going to go underneath this wire, and it will not cuckoo because it gets stuck in here. So whatever you do to this wire, it affects that wire. And so this is the piece that hits the pins on the cannon pinion, the minute wheel with center arbor. All right? And so when this lifts, the third wheel warning wheel spins and it hits the end of this loop on that wire. Hopefully y'all can see that. I've got a stand by. Let me put a towel over my window. It's nice and bright out. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully that helped. I don't have any curtains up here, and I don't plan on putting any curtains up here. But get all my junk out of the way. But if your clock isn't cuckooing, the very first thing that I would do is make sure the weights are on. I don't have all the parts in this movement. Let me find a movement that has all the parts in it. Stand by. Like I said, if your clock is not cuckooing, the very first thing that I would do is do a function test. Either take the movement out, or while the chains and weights are on the movement, push this button right here. This button right here is part of what goes into the count wheel. This also, and I don't have all the parts on this movement, but this piece right here also is what trips the other wire that is attached to the bird post that makes your bird go outside. So do a function test. If when you trip this lever, nothing happens, you have issues. And probably the issue is that third wheel warning pin is underneath this wire that I was telling you about that is attached. That is part of this system right here. Now, it don't have to be a wire. It could be a different setup. GK may say different. Well, GK movements have different setups. It could be a metal flat bar that is tripped by those two pins, such as in this movement. It could be a flat metal bar here that is what you push to make the cuckoo bird go out. And this is a flat metal bar. It's not necessarily a wire, but older clocks have got different setups. So if you do a function test and everything works, the next thing you need to do is put the hands on and rotate the hands around to see if this lever, which is this wire right here, is going to allow this wire here to pull the lever out of the count wheel. And so with me turning the hands, you can see that this lever that goes in the count wheel is moving a little bit. And so if I was to put pressure on this great wheel as I turn the hands, that is the big issue, is whether or not that lever is going to pull this lever out of the count wheel. And it's not. But there it went. And try that again. This should be coming up on the hour here. And it's gone around several times, but it's not tripping it. And that's because this wire right here, I told you, serves two purposes. A, this tail allows the third wheel with warning pin to catch this notch, to stop it while it's in warning. If this is bent wrong, you're going to hear a clicking noise, and it's going to cuckoo until the weight hits the floor. You might hear a clicking noise, and that's the third wheel warning pin hitting on top of this wire. And so you have to make this wire go up a little bit. And the way you do that is you just bend it so it comes up a little bit. But you have to hold this post right here, because if you hold this and bend it up a little bit, remember what I told you, whatever you adjust in here, you're adjusting here also. So it's best to get a pair of pliers, vice grips or whatever, and hold this post to bend this wire up some. That way you're not affecting this wire here. And so now the third wheel warning pin comes over, it hits the hump that goes over the second wheel, and when this drops, the cuckoo should play, because the third wheel warning pin should be bypassing this hump. And if it's not, guess what? You have to bend this down a little bit. And so that is what's wrong with this clock. There's also typically a wire that comes off this lever here, and this wire here hits that wire. It raises that wire to raise this lever out of the count wheel. Now let me grab a different movement and show you on a different movement. Now I don't have the third wheel with warning pin on this movement, So you should be able to see this extremely well. This lever right here, you should see it moving the wire that goes over the second wheel, which is this wire right here. That wire right there lifts this lever right here that goes into the cam of the second wheel by hitting. There's a wire coming off of it. You should be able to see that. And I'm going to show you with a different movement. And so whenever this is rotated, whenever the minute hand is rotated, this is a parts movement, and so the minute hand's not going to rotate. So whenever this lever here lifts up, it allows the clock to cuckoo. And again, I don't have all the pieces on this thing. And so I'm going to show you on a different movement. This is a Herb movement. It's a cuckoo quail movement. I don't have the count wheel on. Here is where the count wheel goes. This lever right here goes into the count wheel. You can see that silver part going into the cam of the second wheel, the Pac-Man's mouth of the second wheel. You can see this wire right here that I'm moving. That is the wire that stops the third wheel with warning pin, but it also lifts this lever out of the count wheel. And so, again, I don't have all the parts on this thing. This is a cuckoo quail clock, by the way. And so this wire right here is what trips the cuckoo side on different positions on the half hour and the hour, or maybe just on the hour. But anyway, this wire right here is what lifts this lever out of the count wheel. The quail side has this lever right here that comes off one of those 4 pins on the minute wheel arbor, the cannon pinion. There's 4 pins on here. And so on the quail side, the third wheel with warning pin has got 2 pins on it. One on the rear of the movement and one toward the front of the movement. And the one on the rear of the movement is what stops it. It hits this lever here, this brass lever that goes into the second wheel cam. It hits it on the inside of the of that lever. On the cuckoo side, it hits the outside of it when it's done cuckooing. There's the third wheel with warning pin right there. And I'm going to show you on another bigger movement. We're just showing you different types of movements. And so this third wheel with warning pin hits the outside of this silver lever when it's done cuckooing, and the silver lever goes into the cam on the second wheel. Now on the quail side, that third wheel with warning pin, because the way the wheels rotate, it hits the inside of that brass lever when it's done chirping, but when it goes into warning, there's another pin right here, and that pin hits this wire right here. It hits. Sorry, I'm getting myself confused. Stand by. I was showing you the wrong wheel. This wheel right here is what makes the quail chirp. Here's the third wheel with warning pin. There's a pin right here that stops when it's done chirping, and then there's a pin right here that hits this wire. You should be able to see that wire move up and down. That wire is the same setup. It starts here, is connected to this post, goes over the second wheel. Anyway, that third wheel's warning pin hits that wire when it goes into warning. And this is a musical movement, all right? I don't have everything on here, but it's the same thing as the cuckoo quail system. There's two pins on this third wheel with warning pin, and one is to stop it when it's done playing the music, and the other one is to put it in warning. And in this case, they both hit this brass lever that comes out of the second wheel cam. The cuckoo side is still the same. It is operated, it has this flat piece of metal right here that goes, this is tripped by one of the two pins on the minute arbor, and then it has a wire that lifts up this lever that comes out of the count wheel. And one more movement, and hopefully y'all can see all this stuff right here. This is an antique cuckoo quail movement. And it will never shut up, and I'm going to explain why it's never going to shut up. You see how that lever that goes into the count wheel is above the count wheel, and it should be dropping into those slots? And the reason why it's above the count wheel, and the reason why it's not dropping into those slots, I told you, this wire right here is what you push to bring it out of the count wheel. But it has to be on the outside of the bird post wire. This wire right here. This wire right here is what you push to make the bird go outside the door. But this spring right here, and it's not tightened up, it serves two purposes. It brings this bird back into the door, and it pushes this lever into the count wheel. But it's going to go in the count wheel now anyway, because this wire here is in the right position. I video chatted with somebody for over 2 hours one day, and the first thing I asked him was this tripwire on the outside of the wire that you push to make the bird go outside. And they said yes. 2+ hours later, I saw it, and their bird just kept chirping. It was actually on a cuckoo quail clock, and it was on the quail side, and he just kept chirping. And after 2+ hours, I'm like, show me the movement. And he showed me the movement, and this outside wire that you open up the door to push was on the inside of this bird post wire, and after they fixed it, it quit chirping. So anyway, again, this wire right here on the cuckoo quail is what starts the cuckoo in motion. Okay, but that wire is attached to the wire. You should see that wire. There's that wire right there. Right there. It comes in, goes over the second wheel, and has a loop on it. And that loop is to ensure that the third wheel warning pin catches it when it goes into warning. When I push this thing, let me go ahead and get it to stop cuckooing first. When I push this wire up, you're going to see the governor pin spin just a little bit. And now the third wheel warning pin is being stopped by that wire that goes around, that goes over the second wheel. And when this lever comes down, it's out of warning, so it allows it to cuckoo. Now on the quail side, you have this wire here that is lifted by one of the 4 pins on the cannon pinion, but this wire is on this post, which has another wire attached to it. You should be able to see that. Here's that curved wire right here. When I lift this up and down, you should be able to see that curved wire moving. That curved wire stops the third wheel with warning pin when it goes into warning, and when this drops, it allows that third wheel warning pin to move to allow it to chirp. This cam on this particular clock has got 2 slots in it. This is the lever that comes out of the cam. That lever is attached to this, which is attached to this wire that you push. You see it all moving? It all moves at the same time. And there's a wire underneath this lever. You should be able to see that pin right there. That's that wire, that the wire that's attached to the inside of this lever lifts up to start everything in motion. I think I covered everything. You know, if like I said, if your clock is chirping or cuckooing when it goes into warning, that's because the hump of the movement, this wire right here, the third wheel warning pin has to catch below that hump when it goes into warning. My Alexander Plea clock it had a great big long tail on it that went all the way to halfway across the movement. And I thought, man, that's kind of stupid for them to have a long tail on it, so I snapped half of it off. Well, guess what? I had to recreate that wire because the third wheel warning pin needed that long wire to ride along it to catch that hump. And because I snipped half of it off, whenever it went into warning, the third wheel warning pin got underneath this wire, and then it couldn't cuckoo because it couldn't go anyplace else. It was stuck between this part of the wire and this part of the wire. And so, again, this wire here and this wire is connected to the same shaft on the movement. And so adjusting these wires, and that's why I say if you have a square hole plastic minute hand, it's a lot easier just to make it a round hole minute hand, and I've got a video on how to do that. Antique hands, I wouldn't suggest doing that, or something like this could happen. It could break as you're trying to drill it out. So this system right here, this trip system, is very, very important. This inside wire, again, serves basically three purposes. One, it's got this tail on it to make the third wheel with warning pin, when it goes into warning, catch the end of that hump. Two, it lifts up the lever that goes into the cam on the second wheel. And it stops it while it's in warning, and when this wire drops, that wire drops, and it allows the clock to cuckoo, play music, chirp, depending on whether it's a cuckoo clock or a cuckoo quail clock or a cuckoo musical clock. And so this system is very important and in the operation of the clock. I think I covered everything. Like I said, eventually I'm going to make I'm not going to make the entire movement, but I'm just going to make a few more parts so you can see it, have a somewhat of an idea of how this thing functions. I hope this helps. Again, please leave me a thumbs up, leave me comments, and subscribe to my channel. And may God bless each and every one of you. This is a new one on me, and I discovered the issue, and I'm going to explain the issue, but I want to show you the issue first. After the cuckoo cuckoos, the quail will chirp one time. But it doesn't do it always. I gotta make the quail chirp first. It's in warning. Did you hear that? The quail chirped while I was cuckooing. I'll let you listen to that again. Did you hear it? The quail was done, and then when the cuckoo started cuckooing, it chirped one more time. And I discovered the issue if you look, the wire that lifts the bird's tail, it got stuck underneath the wire that lifts the quail's tail. And so when the cuckoo was doing its thing, and I want to see if I can put it back underneath there to show you what I'm talking about. Anyway, the wire got, the quail bird wire that lifts its tail got stuck underneath the cuckoo bird's wire that lifts its tail, and so that's why it would chirp the one time while it was cuckooing. I can't do this with this stick, but anyway, I'm going to fix it by bending this wire up some. But before I fix it, I want you to watch those wires. It's in morning again. Jeez, did you see that? And do it one more time. I didn't have my camera in the right position. So let's do it again. Right now, the quail wire is underneath the cuckoo bird wire. Do you see that? The cuckoo bird wire lifted the quail wire, so that's why I made it chirp while I was cuckooing. So I adjusted the wires. And the cuckoo bird wire is no longer hanging up on the quail bird wire, so now it doesn't chirp while it cuckooed. I hope this video helps. Give me a thumbs up and please leave me some comments. May God bless.